take note of miscellaneous business.
Mr. Speaker, this House should note today the competent and consistent financial management of Prime Minister John Key and Deputy Bill English that is serving New Zealand so well in such an uncertain global economic environment. This government's plan of reducing debt, returning us to surplus within 3 years, of opening new markets and growing exports, of investing in infrastructure, of reducing compliance costs and get a more efficient public service is all about building a faster growing economy. It's the right plan at the right time. I could spend this entire speech, Mr. Speaker, just noting the raft of reforms we've done over the last 2.5 years that are contributing to building a stronger economy. More debt, Mr. Speaker, is the last thing New Zealand needs right now. We need only look at the dramas in countries like the United States and Greece to know that's the wrong plan. The worry for New Zealand is our high levels of private debt. It soared from, Mr. Speaker, $68 billion in private debt in 1999 to $175 billion in 2008. That's $107 billion in just 9 years, nearly $12 billion every single year of extra private debt during Labor's period in government. Our tax package was about changing the incentives, and since that took effect, household debt has been going flat, and that is essential for New Zealand. But it's not just private debt that this government has had to address. In 2008, Treasury advised the incoming government that we were looking at a decade of deficits. Every single budget, this government has pulled that back. We're now on track to get New Zealand back into surplus within 3 years. And Mr. Speaker, over the recess, we've seen Labor launch their muddled economic plan, which could only be described as borrow, spend and hope. But there are two particular features of Labor's economic plan that fall into my areas of responsibility that they don't want New Zealanders to know about. Their ETS policy banks on a $50 price of carbon as part of their policy of ramping up the emissions trading scheme. Mr. Cunliffe has confirmed that his numbers are based on a $50 carbon price from the beginning of 2013. And that means a 15% increase in power prices. That means a 10 cents a litre price of fuel. And they've got the cheek to pretend they're concerned about the costs of living. That carbon price would add $450 a year or $9 a week to the living costs for already New Zealand families. It will wipe out any benefit of the messy tax proposal to take GST off some foods. But that's only half the problem with their ETS problem. New Zealand now, more than any other time, needs a strong exporting economy. That's why we are proud of the fact that Stats came out last week and said that in the last year there'd been a 4.5% increase in New Zealand's exports, something that we should be proud of. And the engine room, Mr. Speaker, the engine room of that growth is agriculture. Their policy to put agriculture into the ETS 2 years earlier than the current law, not only that, but to put it in on tougher terms than any other trade-exposed industry is just bizarre. They are going to put a higher price of carbon on farmers than what there is on Methanex or the aluminium smelter. And they plead, yes you are, absolutely you are. That muddled policy will do enormous damage to New Zealand's most important productive industry.
The Honourable...
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable David
Speaker, the member's first 5 minutes wasn't particularly exciting, and the half a minute he took after you rang was no better.
Order. Now, I'm not sure what the member's intention was there. I think we'll just forget about it. The Honourable John Boscawen. The Honourable John Boscawen.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, this debate takes place against a background where this country this year it will be in deficit of $16.8 billion. $16.8 billion, Mr Speaker. This country has been spending at the rate of $300 a week.